It is now my pleasure to recognize the gentleman from Illinois, Adam Kinzinger, for his 5 minutes and his opening statement.
Well, good morning, everybody. And for our witnesses, thank you very much for being here. Chairwoman Eshoo, thank you for making the trip. And to all my colleagues, I really appreciate you all being here. I may be outnumbered today, but I assure you there is a 100% turnout of Republicans from Northern Illinois. So, yeah. One of the other things I want to make very clear, because you don't get to see this a lot when you watch TV and stuff. Most of us here, I think all of us, get along really well. We actually respect each other. Unfortunately, you just see the times we argue and debate, and you assume that it's like that all the time. We actually like each other. And if I don't like somebody, it's not because of their politics. It's maybe because they're a jerk, but nobody here fits that bill. But I think that's important for me, because I want to say this. You know, I think when we get into these debates, whether it's guns or gun violence, a lot of the times both sides just retreat to their corner and mistrust each other in a conversation. And they assume the worst of what folks are saying. And in some cases, people may mean the worst when they make a position. But I think this is, while we're never going to agree at whatever the end result is in the near future, I think there's a lot of areas we can agree. And I think if we can begin to talk to each other again and respect each other again and listen to each other again, I think we'll be able to make some progress. And that's why I'm here. I'm actually here not to debate my points and not to argue. I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen to the people of this community, to learn more about what's working and what more we can do at the federal level to help remedy some of these issues. You know, whether it's a small town or a big city across the nation, Americans are terrified by the mass shootings they've seen that have sadly become a regular occurrence. Too often, though, our attention to gun-related violence focuses more on the mass shootings, and hardly any goes to the steady, devastating strings of violence and daily killings that happen here in Chicago and elsewhere. And frankly, I'm horrified each week when I see the number of people shot or killed over the weekend in Chicago, or when I get a notification on my phone about an active shooter. This is our community, and we need to work together to stop this violence. As a congressman, I feel the heat on all ends of this debate, as all my colleagues do here, and I see the validity of both sides of the conversation. We clearly have a gun violence epidemic here in America, and I want to work with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to find solutions that will reduce suicides, drug-related violence, gang violence, and mass shootings. While the larger gun debate continues, I believe there are many areas we can find agreement, and it's our duty to do so. And today I look forward to hearing from our distinguished panel of witnesses about what more we can do to address this problem. During this hearing, I'm interested in discussing the community aspect of the gun violence crisis. I believe this component is at the heart of a lot of issues we face. I know there have been community initiatives in Chicago, including job training, youth-based programs, and support groups, which have made a significant impact. These programs, that are often formed by the community and for the community, have shown how critical of a role communities can play in addressing this crisis. We really need to make sure we're paying attention to these programs and replicate them when they're successful. I'm also interested in the mental health aspect of gun violence and what we can do in Congress to ensure we provide the tools necessary to address this component of the problem, such as improving access to community health centers and those needing medical help. But we can't legislate a heart, and that's where community and religious organizations come into play. They can help guide and give people hope for a better future. If you don't have hope, and you don't have any reason to follow a moral code or fear the results of your action, tragedy in many cases follows. Desperation can be a dangerous trigger, and to the extent we can work on helping and healing those who are struggling and in the stigma of discussing and facing mental illness in this country, I fear things may only get worse. In discussing the desperation and hopelessness, we come to the issue of suicide. In 2017, 60% of gun-related deaths were suicides. And here in Illinois, one person dies by suicide every 6 hours. In the age of technology and instant gratification, more and more people are feeling less connected. They feel isolated and hopeless. And it's an issue we need to resolve as a society. Kids today feel that their self-worth depends on the number of likes or comments or snaps they get in a given day. And that's a concern to me. So as we get into these different issues surrounding gun violence, I want to reiterate it's a complex problem that requires comprehensive, holistic approach. I'm grateful to our subcommittee for holding this hearing today, and especially to our panelists for being here to share their experience, their expertise, and insight as we look at the root cause of this violence and work together to find real solutions to address the gun violence epidemic. With that, I yield back.